Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and today that voice is pretty croaky, and it might not sound like normal, it certainly doesn't sound like normal to me. I don't know how it comes across on mic, it doesn't matter. There's news, ladies and gentlemen, and what am I going to do? Not show you the news? No, that doesn't seem right. And we got a couple of things to talk about today, both of which are not as we were expecting them to be. So let's start off with the check lane blisters. These were kind of the last product we were waiting to see from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, we'd already seen the new one-pack blisters, the ones that actually have new promos in. They've got Spidops and Espasta that are Pokemon that came around in the promo pack over in Japan. The promo pack that features Clawfie X and is extremely cool. But we kind of knew that already. That's kind of old news. You know, we knew those Pokemon were coming. For what it's worth, the free pack promos are also 2 cards from that promo pack. We've got the Dondozo and the Arcanine. And none of these 4 cards are any good, let's be clear. All 4 of these cards are, they're exactly the kind of cards you would expect to see as promos. They're kind of generic, kind of rubbish, kind of pointless. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm going to get a little collection going of promos for Scarlet and Violet. And I'm not talking about every single promo. That would be ridiculous. I'm not rich. But these cheaper ones, I'm going to get all of them. I'm going to whack them in a binder. It's going to be cool. I love these promos here. However, they are like we would generally expect promos to be, which is to say, not terribly playable and cool for putting in binders, but not much else. But we've been waiting for the check lane blisters, and we've not seen them. Well, now we have seen them, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. They're a little bit confusing. They feature Gengar and Machamp. And the first thing to point out about these is, hang on a second, Wassy. You told us they weren't going to put Sword and Shield promos in Scarlet and Violet products. Why have they put Sword and Shield promos in Scarlet and Violet products? And the answer is, they haven't. These aren't promo cards. These are just flat out reprints of existing cards. Now, I've told you this about these check lane blisters for a while now. I generally don't recommend them. If you're buying these ones that have the full evolution line, the deal very simply is, buy them because you really want the evolution line, or buy them because you want to keep them in a sealed collection, or that's basically it. I'm going to be honest with you. These aren't good products. I don't like them very much at all. But the Gengar and Machamp lines aren't promos. And I believe that's why we essentially get them the way we do. Because, if we go back to the regular one-pack blisters, these are too early. Generally speaking, if you look at the Sword and Shield promos, we get them about 6 months after Japan. That's a general rule. We're getting these pretty much like 2 months after Japan. It's too early. But there aren't any other Scarlet and Violet promos, so we get these promos that are too early to get because there are no other options. So here, essentially, it was either straight reprint from Scarlet and Violet, as in just a straight reprint of existing Stage 2 lines, or they just give us an older set of cards. Gengar and Machamp are both from Lost Origin. They're not particularly new cards. You know, they're about 6 months old. They're 2 sets back. And it is weird getting Sword and Shield cards in a Scarlet and Violet product. But the answer here very simply is, they're not promos, and Pokemon have kind of got their backs against the wall. Now, you'll notice it's from 2 setbacks. My guess would be, and it is nothing but a guess, my guess would be that the second Scarlet and Violet set will be reprinting cards from the first Scarlet and Violet set, which again is a bit early. They generally go back 2 sets. I wouldn't expect to see any Silver Tempest, which is where we're online for at the moment. But again, the fact that they're not really promos, I think does help us out here. Are they any good as cards? The Machamp, basically no. I love it in a pre-release if you can get it rolling. If your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards, you got up to 300 HP, which is nuts. And then 2 energy, 100. You can't do 200, but then you can't attack next turn. Great in a pre-release. Not particularly good outside of that. But the Gengar is good, but the irony is we don't want the whole Gengar line. The attack here, you got single energy, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each of your opponent's bench. So if they've got a full bench of 5, you are placing 100 damage, 10 damage counters for a single energy. And that's not bad. But really here, it's the ability Neverworld Gate. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you can put it on your bench and place 3 damage counters on this Pokemon. And essentially, this ends up being good for Hisuian Zoroark, which is a deck, and we're going to have to wait and see, let's be perfectly clear, but this is a deck that's getting a bit of post-rotation hype at the moment. A deck that could end up being a bit of a player post-rotation. And remember, for 2 energy, 50 damage for each of your Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So getting this Gengar onto the bench with damage counters on, clearly a very good thing, means you're doing extra damage. Although, we do need to remember that at the same time, we've got that Damage Pump card. I think it's called Damage Pump. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Yeah. Which is also from Lost Origin. Lets you move up to 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. And because Gengar gets 3 damage counters on, Gengar plus Damage Pump actually leaves 1 damage counter on each of 3 Pokemon, which does make a big difference when you're trying to just get as many Pokemon out that are damaged as possible. That actually does make a pretty gosh darn big deal. So yeah, I'm not sure you need to buy this to get Gengar, but Gengar is a legit card. But I did promise you 2 new things today. What we've also got is a Pokemon TCG mini portfolio. It looks like this. It's got Koraidon and Miraidon on the front, and it's got the first partner Pokemon Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley just chilling there on the back. But the release date for this is April the 14th. And this should strike you as extremely odd, because April the 14th is not right. Because the mini portfolios, as a general rule, come out alongside Pokemon TCG sets. That's just generally the way it happens. I mean, if we take a look at the last one, it came out with Silver Tempest, and also not for nothing, but it very obviously has the booster pack artwork of Lugia on the front and Alolan Vulpix on the back. This doesn't have booster pack artwork. I mean, look at the booster pack artwork for the first partner Pokemon, who do get a booster pack this time round. And then look at the back of this portfolio. It's not even close, ladies and gentlemen. It is not even close. And this is weird. And this is unusual. And you know what? Yeah, it is. Because it's not coming out at the same time as Scarlet and Violet. And it doesn't have the booster pack artwork, which are basically like the 2 things that we've come to rely on for these portfolios. Now, according to the lovely Primal Lugia over at PokeGuardian, you do actually know it's from the official description, but I did get them from Primal Lugia. Store up to 60 of your latest and greatest Pokemon cards in this mini portfolio. Each portfolio comes with a booster pack from the new Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet expansion, so you can start filling it up right away. So you do get a recent booster. This isn't basically an excuse to release this and give you an old booster pack, which the more Silicon Among Us might think is going on. They've untethered it from a set release, which is weird. And I'm not 100% sure why they've gone and done this, but they have, ladies and gentlemen. They absolutely have. And this has a bunch of implications that we're not going to know for a little while. Does this mean that we are going to keep getting a new mini portfolio every 3 months, but just a couple of weeks after the set? Does it mean that we are going to get fewer of these? Because now they don't have to be released with a set, so we don't have to get them every 3 months. I mean, personally, I like the Pokemon booster pack artwork. I think the booster pack artwork generally is awesome. My wife was having me clean out my studio at the weekend, and she questioned why I'm keeping 1 of each empty booster pack. She thought it was a pile of literal rubbish, which I suppose in a literal sense it is. But I love the artwork on the booster packs, so I keep 1 of each of them in a little collection, and that's rather lovely. So I like having the mini portfolios with this artwork on, and it makes me a little bit sad that they've changed it. I don't have any strong feelings about this new artwork. I do think it's worse. I think it's more reminiscent of the bad Ultra Pro products we've been getting lately. Because, I mean, look, it's clearly the stock artwork of Koraidon, Miraidon, and the first partner Pokemon on a background. And it still looks better than most of what they do, which I suppose is something. It's better than most of the Ultra Pro stuff. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a fan of this. I've changed my mind. I do have strong feelings. It was way better before. But this is what it is, and I think we should expect it to be this way going forward. The only real question is how regularly these come around. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about the chat lane blisters. Tell me what you think about this portfolio. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts, answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat with us about various things. And you can get a shout out on the channel, like the lovely CD Infinity, who's been a supporter of ours for a while and is a very lovely person. And if you've been listening this long, I apologise, my voice is clearly getting worse as I go through the video. And I love you, just you on a personal level, for sticking with it this long. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.